Thinking systems is critical because we live in systems. We are part of the ecology, we are part of the economy, we are the basic agents that make up demography and democracy. And the systems of governance and the systems of education and things that we use ultimately influence the systems around us, which include the ecology and the biosphere. Unless we have a capacity to recognise the linkages between the elements around us, we're going to have real difficulty in managing those or coping with the changes that come because of those. The concerns that I have from a global perspective are that we have compounding systemic issues which can only be addressed by systems thinking. One of the first things I think that's essential for any organisation that's considering how it might move forward in a complex world is to get to understand the system within which they exist. Within their boundaries they have their own systems, whether it's human resources or employment or various other mechanisms, financial. Those are generally geared towards the efficiency and the optimisation of particular goals. But the context within which that organisation sits is part of a much bigger system. So if they understand their supply chains, if they understand who they're actually supplying to, but also if they go a bit deeper into why are we supplying this, what are we doing, what product or service are we trying to provide, and then if you go deeper again, what are the elements of what I do that impact on the environment or on the ecology or on the economy, and in what ways, they start to recognise that if they're doing things which are not to the benefit of the whole system, then they have to question why they're still in business. So ultimately it forces a review of not only the efficiency of the organisation itself, but the recognition that they are potentially part of the solution to the systemic problems which we're trying to tackle globally at the moment. So to me, the opportunity here for organisations is to look internally at who are the players that you have, both internally and externally. How do you connect those players in ways that optimise the flows of resources, information, knowledge, beneficial products and services? And what are the alternative ways that those connections could be made? If we use a systems framework, we can imagine different ways of being, almost like scenario thinking, that actually say, what if, not how do I continue to do what I'm doing, but what if we did it a different way? That's transformative systems thinking. That has the capacity to create paradigm shifts, it has the capacity to create disruptive technologies, it has the capacity to create new markets, because once we have attractors where people can say that's a better technology or that's a better way, they will be market leaders. So there's a critical element here for each company to look at how they might contribute to the bigger picture. And I believe that the world is looking for better solutions, so companies that aren't thinking like this will find themselves obsolete very shortly. I think one of the barriers to systems thinking is the perception of efficiency and optimisation. If we are always aiming for the most efficient way of doing things, then we get rid of redundancy. We take away alternative ways. We take away alternative ways of thinking. We take away alternative ways of doing and being. What that does is reduce the diversity of players in the system. In an ecosystem, that makes an ecosystem brittle because it doesn't have the players capable of adapting to change. In a business, it makes a business brittle because if things change and you haven't got the corporate knowledge or the corporate memory or different ways of thinking about innovative solutions, then you can't move forward. So there are big similarities here between the ecological systems that we see and how they go through growth cycles and then collapse cycles and then reorganisation cycles and then back into growth again, and the sorts of things that happen with, say, a global financial crisis affecting a business and knocking every business down to several notches. Those that have the adaptive capacity and capability and the recognition of the skills within their ranks and the networks and relationships and the flows in place are much more likely to be able to bounce back faster and or to take it to a different level of actually functioning. And those are the players which are going to be the standout performers in the 21st century, because there are so many things which are now becoming obvious that we're not doing as well as we could be. There will be a significant market for change. And so players that can actually think like that are positioning themselves ahead of the market, they're pre-adapting to conditions that some of us know are coming, and they're actually positioning themselves in a way that will allow them to reap the benefits of that from a business perspective, but potentially also give back to the whole system.